2011 Nissan Altima. We're gonna replace the thermostats. This vehicle happens to have two thermostats. One is located right there, and the other one is located right here on the bottom. So for that, we're gonna remove this air intake housing, the plastic. We're also gonna drain some of the coolant, and we don't want to make much of a coolant spill. To remove your air duct over here, you have to just remove two bolts, one here and one here. After that, then you're gonna remove your wiring. This clips right here, this other one right here on this side. Then we're gonna remove this air filter housing. Two clips, lift up and remove them. Okay, for that, then we're gonna have we're gonna remove this housing over here. I believe there's a 10mm bolt over here. We're gonna remove that bolt, and we're gonna remove this clamp so we can get the access for our thermostat housing. Our next step is going to be removing this hose over here. Remove the clamp back over here, and then we're gonna take the hose out, have ready, loosen it up, and so we'll just put them out of the way. Next is to get this connector also disconnected and put them back over here. We're gonna have to remove this housing pipe, this pipe all the way over here that hooks onto the back of it. So otherwise we won't be able to get this thermostat housing out from its place. So I'm gonna see if I can just remove it without it, but I believe there's another bolt on the bottom as well here. So let's get to remove this hose over here first. This one, this right here, and then we're gonna take that bolt out. We see if we can slide our pipe that way. It's connected over here, back over here, right there. And I believe there was also another bolt. Yeah, there's another 12mm bolt under the holding it in place right there as well. Prior to that, I'm going to start by removing our first thermostat housing, the one on the bottom. So remember, this one has two bolts as well, two 12mm bolts that you're going to remove, one on the top and one on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I already got them broken loose. This vehicle has two thermostats. The mistake often that people do is that, or mechanics do as well, is that they only change one thermostat thinking that this vehicle has only one thermostat, but in reality there's two. So two hoses, two bolts holding our first thermostat housing. There's your first one. So we're gonna remove that one out of the way, and then we're gonna continue. Also, here's your other bolt on the bottom for this pipe right there. I am not removing just the hose from this pipe. I just remove the upper hose. This is a small one, so I can push this pipe on the top, just the pipe, so I can just push it down. And this one is just, it's held by one bolt here, and it goes inside that, inside the engine here, engine block. We just slide it out this way and let it rest on the bottom. We're going to take this thermostat housing. I'm not going to remove the hoses if not needed. If I need to, then I'm going to have to remove it, but I'm going to start just without removing it. I'm going to take one bolt, one nut, two nuts, and there's one on the bottom, so it will be three. There were actually four bolts, two bolts, two nuts to remove this housing. I am done removing this hose over here in order for me to get my socket and remove that bolt over there. So I'm just going to keep the other hoses in place, and you can just remove this one and install your new thermostat in there. So you have you're going to have two thermostats, one on the top and one on the bottom. You can also order your O-ring for that pipe over there that we removed. Sometimes they will leak once you remove them, so that's optional for you if you want to do it or not. I recommend doing it. So I have already ordered one. I don't want to take the risk of having a leak later on, and then I'm going to have to redo the job. So we'll continue once we get the new replacement here. We got our new thermostat here. They came with a like a diagram. So the big one, like I already have it on the video, the big one goes on the bottom side, which is right here on the front. That's your bigger thermostat. And we want to put this thermostat with the blader pin right here on the, it has a blader pin right there. We wanted to put about 12 o'clock, like all the way on the top. That way we got air trapped in the system, will be faster to come out of the blader pin. This one has a small hole in it. We also want to put about 12 o'clock in our engine. This one goes over here in our housing on this side. The orientation is this way, inside the housing. You can also guide yourself with this diagram. It shows you which way they go. So the big one also goes like this, inside the engine on the front. So let's get to it. What I like to do on the whole ring for this pipe over here, I like to add some lubricant, like it could be a WD-40 or some type of grease, just enough to make it slide in nice, so it won't create any tears on the O-ring itself, and then you have a leak. Also, when you're going to install your thermostat, clean your surface, clean from any dirt or anything that could make a leak. So now you just have to put the 2 nuts, 2 bolts, and your connectors, your hoses that you remove. For example, I've replaced that one back already, put this one back. I'm gonna put this plastic that goes that holds these 2 hoses together, and I'm gonna install the new one, the other thermostat on this side. Remember, blader at 12 o'clock, blader hole on the thermostat 12 o'clock as well. So we have already installed this one and the bolt on the bottom. That way this hose clamp is not on my way when I'm tightening it back on. And that will be all for your thermostat replacement. Now we're just going to put our throttle body, air housing, filter box as well, put them back in place, and then we're going to turn on the vehicle. We're going to bleed the coolant system so we don't have any airs on it, then any air trap inside the system, and we're going to test drive the vehicle and see if everything went well. So that's how you replace your thermostats on 2011 Nissan Altima 2.5. So after we have finished installing our thermostat, now we're going to bleed our coolant system. We're going to make sure there's no more bubbles like the one just came out. We want to make sure there's no more bubbles coming out of it, so our vehicle won't overheat due to lack of coolant circulation. We're going to let the vehicle running, and we're going to put our heater on high speed all the way to the hot on the thermometer or the gauge. Also keep an eye on your temperature, because your temperature could change. You could overheat while you're doing this procedure. So keep an eye on your temperature gauge. No AC on, okay? So only your heater on. So while I like to put a little bit of gas, like around 2,000 RPMs. Around 2,000 RPMs, so the air will travel faster. The pump will help bleed our coolant system faster. can see the air coming faster on our funnel. While we're doing that, we also want to keep an eye on our vehicle temperature gauge. We don't want to overheat this vehicle or damage a head gasket or something like that. So keep an eye on that as well, and until you make sure that there is no more bubbles on the system. Now our air bubbles are coming slower, which means that we're getting closer to no air on the system. Also, your heater will, like, if you put the back of your hand against the heater, it will burn your hand. You will feel it. It's hot enough, so it means that your coolant is traveling through the system. It's fine. Try to keep your RPMs around 2000 RPM, not higher if possible. After you have confirmed there's no more bubbles, if there's a little bit bubbles just coming here and there, it takes longer to bring more bubbles up to the funnel, then that will be enough. That will be enough. What I would suggest is, after you turn off your vehicle and the vehicle has cooled down, or you drove it and then you let it cool down, then you can come over and check your coolant level here on your radiator. And if it needs more, then add more. Another tip is, I like to press on my hoses. On this top radiator hose, I like to press. Sometimes I press down, I will push some air that could be trapped between the hoses and the radiator. Also the bottom one, just be careful, they're hot. Be careful not to interfere with not to injure yourself with turning fans or pulleys or anything of that sort, or even a hot catalytic converter. So the bottom hose is this one. I already did it. It releases a big bubble at first, but I didn't record it. But it's a good practice to do this procedure. So I'm gonna leave it there. See, even after I finish, I kind of see some bubbles coming out of it from the bottom hose. So I'm gonna press it again. Press release, press release. Right there, I didn't see any bubbles coming. Temperature is right on good temperature. It's not overheating or anything like that, and heater is working correctly. So that will be all for bleeding your 2011 Nissan Altima. There are other years that this applies as well. Most of the vehicles applies this procedure. There will be other scenarios where you have like a electronic thermostat and you have to open it by computer, but these ones are mechanical thermostats.